Hello friends, Namaste. I am Dr. Debanjan Banerjee, a psychiatrist from the National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences, NIMHANS, Bangalore. I hope all of you are doing fine, doing safe and healthy in these difficult and unprecedented times. I know that the pandemic for the last 8 months have led to innumerable challenges, not just in the domain of public health, but in our families, being separated from them, the feelings of loneliness, a lot of psychological issues, familial problems, and social problems as well. Certain vulnerable sections of the population, like the age and the gender minorities, the socio-economically impoverished people, people who are less privileged, and of course, the frontline workers, including the doctors, the nurses, the policemen, people who are delivery executives who still have to go and be there in a crowd, the news reporters, and many others who are at increased risk not only from the fear of infection but also from its psychological and social offshoots. With that in background, 2 days back on the 10th of October, we celebrated the World Mental Health Day. Like any other year, this year too, there was a theme and it was centered around greater investment in mental health, greater access and mental health for all. Investment can happen at various levels. For the first one, let's emotionally invest in mental health awareness and promotion. All of you, everyone hearing out, uh, you know, everyone that I'm speaking to has the potential to be a gatekeeper in the way of mental illness. You can take a pledge to promote psychological and emotional well-being, to reduce the stigma and the immense amount of myths and misinformation that are related to this field of health. To conquer with who? In that there can be no health without mental health. Mind is invisible, it's abstract, it cannot be seen, and probably that's why it's most neglected. You feel a pain anywhere in your body, you have an injury, you have a headache, you understand the concern, the need for treatment. A person who is sad for a long time, a person who feels suicidal, a person who has a long-term sleep disturbances, person who is edgy and anxious all the time, might feel stigmatized to seek and to approach for help. The National Mental Health Survey of 2015 to 16 shows that there is a wide mental health gap. What do we mean by a mental health gap? It was detected to be 85%. So for every 100 people who are in need of mental health care, only 15 get access to it. 85 don't. Consider the populace of India and you will understand the concerns. Now, what is mental health? Is it just not having any so-called mental disorder like depression, anxiety, panic, schizophrenia, dementia, etc.? That's probably the most popular misconception that is there prevalent in the community. World Health Organization clearly mentions that being mentally healthy is not just a mere absence of a mental disorder. Like any other form of health, it's also a continuum. For every single person diagnosed with a particular category of mental illness, there may be thousands more who are facing a lot of distress, chronic stress, difficulty in day-to-day life. They might be having sleep problems, they're anxious, they have interpersonal issues with family members, occupational problems at their workplace, are not able to manage their personal and professional life in the way they're expected to be. But if you really see them through a lens of a diagnosable category, you might not find a detectable mental disorder, but they are still in need for mental health care and help. To simplify this, let me give you the example of diabetes, a very common illness. People are aware about it, and people immediately consult the physician when the reports are alarming. Hypothetically, let's take that blood sugar of 200 is considered to be that limit beyond which you can diagnose a person with diabetes. But scientifically speaking, the range of normalcy is up to 120. So, what happens to someone who has, say, a blood sugar level of 145? Something between 120 to 200. Is it abnormal? Is it pathological? Can it be called a disease? It might not be medically termed as diabetes. You cannot tell the person is suffering from diabetes. But yes, it is a matter of concern. In medical terminology, it's known as impaired glucose tolerance, IGT. Whatever you name it, it's a pre-diabetic stage, and if you do not take care, if you do not take care of your diet, of your weight, of exercise, of your lifestyle at that particular point of time, if you do not seek help, you might progress to the stage of diabetes, for which you might either need insulin or medications. Like any form of health, mental health too forms a continuum. At one end, there can be a so-called normalcy. At the other end, there can be diagnosed mental disorders, and all of us, based on the context and the situations, can fluctuate in the spectrum. It is important to seek help before you reach the breaking point. Does that mean that feeling grief or feeling sad is depression? No. That's another common misconception. We all feel sad, we all feel angered. Releasing out our emotions is not pathological, it is not wrong. But there are certain red flags that we call, certain signs that we must be aware about. When it starts affecting our daily functions, I might be sad one particular day. Something might have happened in my personal life or my workplace, or I have had a discord with someone. I sleep it off and I am fine from the next day morning. However, if I am not able to come back to what's expected out of me, even after days, after weeks, I consistently feel sad, feel extremely guilty. I'm not able to come out of my room. I constantly prefer to stay alone. I am not getting interest in hobbies, in the things that I used to like. It has started affecting my weight, my diet, my appetite, my sleep. People find a distinct change inside me. That is when you can be diagnosed with depression, and depression is a disease, my friends. It's a disease just like your typhoid, malaria, COVID. It's not just feeling sad or feeling stressed. Obviously, we can't discuss about every single illness here, but the point that I'm trying to make is it's important to understand what your mind says to you. If you are feeling a pain in a particular area of your body, probably your body is trying to tell you that you need help before it aggravates. Similarly, if you are stressed for a long time, if you are having any form of distress, a form of negative stress, when you're not able to manage yourself, it might be you, it might be your next door neighbor, it might be your friends, family, the person who works right next to you in the office. But every one of us can play this role of promoting mental health by encouraging the person to seek help, and that reduces the stigma in the community. Being in a tertiary care center, what we cater to is only the tip of the iceberg. There are hundreds and thousands of people living in the community who need help, but to whom probably a message doesn't reach out. I solemnly request to all my friends listening today, please take the role of spreading this message out to the community, because each of you are a potential mental health promoter. a gatekeeper in preventing mental health problems and obviously preventing suicides. Feeling suicidal, having a death wish is a matter of concern which needs urgent professional help. It falls among one of the red signs. We can do a lot of discourse, discussion, retrospective speculations, conspiracy theories related to why a person committed this act of suicide. But we cannot bring back a prematurely lost life with all this discussion. Research states that most of people who do feel suicidal do seek professional help before they actually think or commit the act. But many of us fail to understand it, and it is not just the prerogative or onus of mental health professionals. Every one of us in the community can be aware, and I'm sure that COVID-19 has worked as an eye-opener for us to be aware of the importance of our psychological and emotional well-being. There has been numerous academic discourse, research, publications, debates, and of course webinars now, because everything has gone virtual, related to the importance of mental health during the pandemic. But what I keep saying to my colleagues, to my friends, I'm a bit skeptical about it. Whatever we are discussing today have always been important. Ironically, it needed a pandemic, a virus, to open our eyes to the importance of something which has been vital all our lives. But I'm happy that the awareness has increased. So it will be my request to you, dear friends. The pandemic will eventually cease one day. The virus will probably leave. But let this awareness continue. Let the importance of promoting mental health, psychological well-being, reducing stigma, helping people access mental health care resources, access mental help continue. Help is just a call away. All my colleagues, all the medical fraternity has started virtual consultations. So reach out for help. If there are any of the red flag signs within yourself or the other person that you know, please encourage to take help. It's very important that each of us emotionally invest in mental health more than anything else, and it's a collective responsibility. There are multiple myths, misinformation about psychiatric problems, psychiatric illness, and mental health professionals which need to be corrected. We are there to help you out. We are there to reduce the stigma. There is no harm in seeking help, and that's probably the most important message. My friends, as we pass this World Mental Health Day, let's not make it about a particular day. Let's think beyond the pandemic and let's empathize with others who need help. Through self-care, compassion, positivism, hope, understanding what mental illness is about, appreciating mental well-being, taking care of your own mental well-being and of others, we can make a society that is inclusive of people who suffer from mental illness. Traditionally, and through the popular portrayal in media, psychiatric disorders have always been equated to something terrible, violent, dangerous, or something magical. They are just disorders like any other common medical problems like diabetes, hypertension, or let's take the example of the current pandemic, COVID. They can be treated and they can be prevented. Can't all of us try together to do that? That's the message I want to give, my dear friends. Take care, stay safe, and stay well. And most importantly, stay physically and mentally healthy. Thanks for listening. Bye. Namaste.